Welcome to the buy list. This is episode 43.
This is not financial advice. This is cardboard. In the words of Eminem, you got one shot, one opportunity. Just I shoot. Oh no!
Oh,
I blew it with my one shot, Ted.
you blew it. You
How
blew
was
it.
how was your week in Flesh and Blued, my friend?
It was very cool, man. I went to the Realm Rumble, ended up qualifying for the 20K, and played in the 10K. I was telling you before we hit record that the 20K was a gauntlet. It was like day two calling, but condensed down to like 100 people. And so it was just, I got beat up pretty good. Had some fun games though. Um, don't regret anything. Got a sweet mat. I mean, the round games, like, they kill it, man. It's like crazy that they are, first of all, that they did a 20K. It's crazy that next year it's going to be a 50K. They're like, we're not even going to double it. We're just going to go right to 50. It's like, holy
Dude,
smokes.
40K would be weird. This ain't
Yes.
Warhammer, dude. This is
Yeah.
Flesh and Blood.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it is a weird number, but yeah, I mean, it was really well run. From the event side, everything was like really tight. Things happened on time, all that jazz. So like props to those guys for being able to put that on. Custom play mats for everyone that qualified, things like that. It's just really cool to see a non-sanctioned event kick off like that and then be super popular, right? Like there was players from all over the country, from different countries. Tariq was there, so it was yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was like a murderer's row of
Yeah,
it was like a calling, but they like removed all the scrubs first.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, when Michael Fang goes doesn't make day two, that's a rough event.
Yeah, yeah. It was tough, man. It was like there was no hiding in that event. Like I went I won a game, but I was like 1-3 at one point, and I sit down and it's like you're playing like you sit down next to Michael Fang, be like, what? Well, I'm not used to sitting down next to this man. Like, what's going
Yeah,
on
not
here?
not round four. Yeah.
Yeah, no, not at all. So,
And then
um,
like a complete Chad, he just goes and just like dunks the next day.
I know, crazy.
No problem.
Yep.
Bang gang for life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was cool to see him take it down, and Brody took down the 20K. So,
It was a great Wolfpack weekend.
yeah, for sure.
Proud of the boys.
Yeah. So talking about that, Nate, and kind of leading into the like market talk. Um, so the top eight I have here for the 20K, it was two OG dashes, a
Yep.
Bravo, Azalea, a Kano, a Bolton, and a Dromai. Man, welcome to New Flesh and Blood, people. Like this is wild times. Like that's a wild top eight, man.
I just like
Like nothing surprising in there, but like at the same time, the variety is the most we've seen in it feels like a year or more or maybe ever. I don't know.
I'm just trying to think of like I've played like almost no other card games, but I like use I played Dragon Ball Super and I played Star Wars Destiny before this, but I don't know that there's ever been a time where it's like when you look at a top 8, there's only like one duplicate deck.
Yeah.
Like it's usually like there's a best deck and there's like a couple like competing decks,
Yeah.
and there might be like 4 decks that kind of like round or 5 decks maybe that round out a top 8, not
Yeah.
7. And not only did it was the follow-up was the same thing at the 10K.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yep.
Very similar top 8, I believe, with like 1 Azalea, 1 Bravo,
hmm
a Dromai. Maybe the double up was Dromai. I don't
Yeah, it
recall.
might have been. Yeah. But I mean, just going into our previous point too, this is not battle hard in Wichita or something, right? In the middle of winter when it's snowing out. You know what I mean? This isn't like this was not
Shots
just a bunch
fired at
of
Wichita, look out.
I mean, you know what I mean? It wasn't some little
Yeah,
event that like was the weekend before Christmas or something. You know what I mean? Like this was this wasn't just a bunch of people bringing out their like favorite heroes and like I'm gonna do good with it, like a bunch of Timmies, right? This was like pro players coming out with these decks, thinking every one of these players brought their deck thinking it was the right call for the weekend, right? It isn't just some anomaly, right? And they had to go improve it against the best players in North America. So, a lot of the times you can kind of look at top eights and kind of be like, well, this, that. But I put a lot of credit into this top eight, right? This is kind of showing us that this meta is wide open. And really, Nate, that what's that do to the market, right? I think we've seen it in the last, uh, man,
Last
even
couple
in
of
the last
weeks,
couple days, last couple weeks. I mean, we're seeing
this
stuff
market
flying around, man.
hot tamales. This market. Um, I mean, like, and there was a bunch of decks that were right on the cusp of making top eight too, that were just like right on the outside. I know Dan played Max, Dan Rutkowski, uh, friend of the show, also my co-host on the Lost Worlds episode. Uh,
Lost Forever.
love you, Dan. Um,
Are you one of
like
the
he
41
brought,
people that saw it?
yeah, he brought Max, just like you.
Yeah.
He got 10th
Yeah, in the 10K.
on
Yep.
10K. Like, that's a real deck. There's so many decks that are like right there, right on the
Yep.
cusp. Um, and everything feels very playable. And I know we've talked about like what does the effects of like LL have in the market, and I think we're really starting to see
Yeah.
now that like LL is in full gear, especially in Blitz. Like basically all of Blitz is LL now. Like maybe they'll just LL Blitz as a format.
Dude, it's like a reset, like the map reset in Fortnite just went through. They're just gonna delete the whole game. They're like, boop, it's gone.
We're gonna redesign Blitz. We're
Oh my
LLing the
god.
entire format. Um, but I mean, prices of things have just like kind of gone off the charts. We're gonna highlight some of the hidden gems that have kind of gone unsung, but you look at Dustildon. That's hot right now. Sorry, I have a cold.
Yeah. Um, to let you yeah, like one of those things, that Dust Till Dawn, what's happening, right, is you see, Bolton's kind of been lurking. I know you've been telling me about Bolton for a little while, right? Ice kind of just like killed him, right? And then you see Yuki come into the event in top eight with Bolton.
Mhm.
Um, I played a Bolton in that event and got absolutely obliterated. Yeah, there was a turn where I was just like, "Oh, I can build my mech next turn," and then he just did a bunch of stuff, and I was just like, "Oh, everything is 6 attack, and you get to swing three more. Oh man, yeah." I just took it right on the chin, man, and I was just like, "Oh, I see." And this was Raiden, right? This wasn't combo. So yeah, I got beat up by a Bolton too. So like you said, Dust Till Dawn right now, you see the bannerets going up, right? Those charges, getting those in the soul and getting those extra benefits are really good. Creating courage tokens, quicken tokens, things like that. So we're starting to see that stuff move a little bit. Yeah, but it looks like, the more I look at it, a lot of like Majestics are just like popping up a little bit, right? Nothing's like going crazy, crazy. I think last week we talked about hold the line's going up. We have another defense reaction we're going to talk about in a bit that's going up. Um, that all you got. So, I think people are just trying to adjust to this meta, and it's causing, I think for a good, and it's not a bad thing. I think it's just causing a lot of people to branch out and try new stuff. Where
Yeah.
before you would just buy your Lexi deck, and then you go to 4 weeks of ProQuest, and you
Yep.
just slam that hero, and you just hope you hit your three of a kinds before they do.
I hope that like this is kind of a learning for LSS too of like letting things go too long because I think Lexi really depressed the value of Bright Lights and Dust Till Dawn.
Yep.
because there's no reason to play it. Like she was way above and beyond best deck, and the only two decks that could really compete with her were like Bravo and Dromai
Yep.
and like Azalea kind of, but like none of those got any support in those sets other than Starstruck and Tome.
Yep.
So like it was for those sets, if you were trying to play the opposition to Lexi, you were singles buying and that's it.
Hmm.
But now we're starting to see the effects of like people not opening those sets as much because those singles are flying. You look at the all of the Prism Majestics from
Hmm.
Dust Till Dawn. There's like none available. All the Marvel Angels are popping off because people are like, all right, Prism.
Yeah.
We all know Dromai is an unplayable deck, so you know we'll just
Yeah.
pretend like it doesn't exist. Um, yeah, I mean it's literally in their name, illusionist. It's more like delusionist. They all think they have 90-10 matchups.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, we've done it for years with Dromai. Why can't we just do it with Prism? It's fine.
Yeah, I think Dromai is also in that danger zone too of like popping off on an event and then just being gone, right?
You think
So
Dromai is gonna pop off at an event? Dog.
maybe.
All right. Ted's joining the delusionist club
Hey, there
over
was a Dromai in the top eight. We just said that.
Dude, I
Your
listen.
teammate.
My now teammate Mara, I posted in one of the chats that I literally put it in spoiler text because I think she's the only person on the team that believes Dromai is a real deck. I was like, Mara, don't open the spoiler text because if we all believe that Dromai is not a real deck, then we should be playing this deck. Because it's obviously it's bad Dromai matchup, but like whatever, it's a fake Dromai's a fake deck anyways.
Oh my god, you're too much.
So I like, but like Bolton,
Yep.
Prism's all play. Lucas did all right with Prism, but Prism's
Yeah,
Prism's
Prism's
okay.
still a little bit of a struggle. I mean,
It's
even, two like OG Dash, right? There's two of them. That was the only double up in the 20K.
mhm,
OG Dash is like, well, all three, I like you said, I think I had my reservations on Max, right? I was like, oh, I kind of understand how this deck works. This will be really fun.
yeah,
Um, I need more reps. I need to get better at the game, but like there's definitely some powerful things that that deck does. So like he's a real mech. Obviously, Dash is a real deck. We just
yep,
saw it in the top eight. They're starting to pull these cards um from Bright Lights, right? The some dashes are the Tree Fog dash that use the arms and the legs, I think, or some of
yep,
the Soul Steel Evos. Those Majestics are popping off. I think the arms
yeah.
and legs right now are over $10 a piece. That's crazy.
They were
Crazy.
both like 15, I think, over the weekend.
Yeah, it's like nuts. That's
Yep,
like crazy good. Obviously you got your All Stars, Heist, and Twin Drive, right? Are always gonna just be super high. Um, So like yeah, this spreading out of the meta is definitely pulling on these sets that weren't opened as much because Lexi was just the best deck, and if you had the cards already, you just didn't need to open anything else because you just knew it was the best deck.
yep.
Now I'm not sure anybody knows quite what the best deck is.
I don't think there is a best deck.
Yeah, that's true. There might not be.
Like I think that every 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 deck that you would like consider like the best deck is like, targetable. Um,
Yep.
like they all have their weaknesses and they all have their strengths, and it's really like this kind of like beautiful like meta that LSS has created. And I think like that in and of itself is really encouraging for heavy hitters. And I think heavy hitter like people are like, oh man, I'm worried about heavy hitters like being a dud. I think like it's gonna be really hard for heavy hitters not to just like slap
Yeah,
because
like it's gonna slot right into this. Like I agree with you. I think it would be hard for heavy hitters, especially the heroes that we're getting, Brute, Guardian, Warrior, to
yeah,
not slot right into this meta and kind of and not really um I doubt there'll be a deck that's just like clearing away the best, right? There's not gonna be that. But there's definitely I don't see how they don't just slot in. All these decks kind of live, like you said, live in a zone where it can be targeted. I think they'll slot right in, and some of those decks might target some of the decks that we saw perform this weekend, or we'll see perform at Cincinnati. at the battle hard end. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I think this is a primed meta for another set, for a Fab 2.0 set for sure. I think this is
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're gonna be cooking. Um, Also, I guess the last shout out would be Azalea took it down. Azalea good. Seek and destroy. I got hit by one of those. I
Big
was
sad.
I was saying. I got
Eh,
him. Yeah, seek and destroy on a red in the ledger, so I could only do one action, and then I had my mech and my arsenal. It all
I
died.
hope your action was making the mech.
It wasn't. I only had two hyperdrivers. I had the
Oh,
blues in hand to like build the second. I had everything lined up. Like
yep.
over the weekend, we don't have to get into it too much, but over the weekend you kind of get two hyperdrivers, and we'll do a deck tech on this. But you get two hyperdrivers, and then you get some blues, and you get the mech in your arsenal, and you get one T-bone or 1 0 to 60, and you are ooh, you get to hit the boost, create the thing, crank it, make the mech
Yep.
go to town. Um, Good players saw that coming. We're like, Levi
Yep.
was like, no, I don't think so. You get one action and I'm blown up and you're discarding all your cards. And I was like, well, GG, my friend.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, yeah. That was close. But um I guess before we move on to Nate, um the last hero here, Kano. Yeah, just coming in to do that little check, AB check. Just doing that. I'm
Yep.
just like Inspector Kano just walks into the room, walks into the tournament center, and being like, just checking to see if everyone's up on their AB.
Yeah,
We got
I feel
AB people.
yep. I feel like there's a lot of people who were just like, Icelander's gone. We don't need that anymore.
Yeah, it's like the police officer, right? Just checking. Like, yeah, you got your insurance. Is your insurance up to date? Like, let's just check your paperwork real quick.
Yeah,
And if you
yeah.
don't have that paperwork, going to jail. Yeah.
Dude, there there's many people on my team who are like, hey, like we're just gonna respect it. We're always gonna respect the Kano. I've yet to play a Kano at a big event, and I've become one of those Kano disrespecters. And I am sure next event I am gonna be put promptly in my place.
Yeah, you'll get zapped to like 50 and be like, "Oh, all right,
How
I'll put
yeah,
AB in."
AB's a thing. All right,
Yeah.
got it. Got it. I mean, Kano's in a really interesting spot right now because like
Hmm.
Viscerai, unplayable. Vincent, well,
Unplayable.
she's unplayable. Um, I mean, they're in Dromite here when you think about it. So
Dude, your disrespect is
it mounts daily.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
mad disrespect here, dude.
dude, listen, I mean, like, if Guy didn't win that calling, like, what else did or Guy, if he didn't win that calling, what what would Dromai have won in the last forever?
Okay, so she
Nothing.
struggles, okay? She's
Nothing. Literally nothing.
yeah.
She won one event. She puts one person in the top 8 every single event, and it's either like Aaron Chance or Mara Ferris. Those are the only two people who are allowed to sit next to Dromai in the top 8 or Guy.
Yeah.
Like those three people, that's it. If you're submitting Dromai and those are not your names, don't even bother. Scoop it up, play Prism. I don't know.
This is not how we want to get views by firing up the Dromai community, Nate.
I will get views anyway. I am not above groveling.
Yeah. So,
Um,
I mean, yeah, I guess to wrap it up a little bit, it's just the meta's so wide open. I think we're seeing Majestics move a couple bucks here or there. You keep an eye on them. There's just like we'll be pointing them out over the next couple weeks, I think, and I think it's going to be really cool to see it like transform. Right? I think there's probably some. I don't know what events are coming up, but here in the states, I think the next big event is in January in Cincy. So it'll be cool to see how that. What am I missing?
this weekend there's one in Orlando.
Yes, you're right. Savage Feats is down there. Now I remember hearing that. Yeah, so we got Orlando, dude. That's gonna catch the meta on. That's going to catch the market on fire again. So just keep an eye on that. Um, this week, so this week's deep dive is kind of interesting. We put a different little spin on it. So we have 3 cards this week. We have like bargain bin $1 majestic that you should keep an eye on for heavy hitters. We have a majestic that's under $5, not so much bargain bin, but like one that's like, that under $5. And then we have one that's right around $10. Um, and let's jump into that, Nate.
Are we doing the big baller spec special?
Big Baller Spec special.
Did you put that one on there or no?
The third one, yes, we did change it.
No, the fourth one, the one I messaged you about.
I know. I don't
Okay,
know.
well, we'll do what. Guess what? If you guys stay to the very end, this is how you keep people engaged. This
Yeah,
is
there
this
you
is
go.
broadcasting, Ted. I learned this at one point.
You learned this, okay.
Big baller spec special at the end of the episode, but you gotta stick in. Now we're gonna talk about some cleavage.
Yes, that.
Dude, we've talked about this card before.
Yep.
Like,
So this card
yeah,
came out in Dynasty, and we've seen steadily, like LSS has released Axe cards for the non-existent Axe Warrior for since Dynasty. It's been over a year, folks. So if there's
dude,
gonna be an Axe Warrior,
since Dynasty, since Monarch, there's Axe cards in Monarch,
yeah,
dog.
but there was hatchets in Monarch, right?
Doesn't matter. Spill Blood, still my favorite card.
Yeah, but
Dude,
that was
Spill
playable.
Bloods. Sheesh. That's not unplayable. That's my favorite card.
I didn't say it's unplayable. I said it's playable. This is unplayable.
This isn't unplayable.
I mean, it's not unplayable, but it's just not great, right? I think you're, we've talked about this. Like you said, it's 71 cents. It's a bargain bin card. It's a card that you should have 3 of if you're interested in Warrior, um, because as soon as they spoil a new Warrior, that's like Mr. Axe Boy himself. You know what I mean? Like as soon as that spoiler comes out, folks, this card is not going to be 71 cents. Like Axe Boy Warrior.
Boy.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I mean, this like just reminding you that this card exists, right? +4. Um, I think it's really good, right? Or it could be really good. And for 71 cents, pick up your playset now, just put them in your binder, and then when it goes to like $8, you'll be like, hey, I don't have to spend $24 on my playset because I want to play Axe Boy.
X. Every time we say X, I just think of like Island Boys, like those
Yeah,
guys.
dude, it's definitely BOI, not B.
Yeah. Dude, I never thought they would release like a like anarchist type character like Max. So like, who knows? Maybe next we get X Boy. Yeah.
Just gonna, uh, yeah. So, I mean, there's like 52. It's a flooded market, right? There's just tons of these. They're barely selling 12 over the last week, right? I mean, we don't have to like try to parse through this. No one's looking at this card essentially. Um,
Everybody's asleep at the wheel.
yeah. So yeah, just get your playset now and then thank us later.
Yeah. Like you always do. Like, listen, Ted has to admit that I'm always right. So like, I don't think we've ever gotten anything wrong ever. Just don't look back at our Dust Till Dawn previews. Lumina Lance and
Yeah.
Dabble in Darkness. I think we did talk about both of those cards being good. But
Yeah.
everything else we've been 100% correct on. So
Yeah.
like, just get your cleaves,
Yeah,
boys.
if you play me at a large event and I try to explain to you as I'm giving you a die or one of my tokens, you know that I love to pat myself on the back about adaptive plating, heist. There's a number of them. I
Yeah,
cherry pick them, to be honest. But
best.
yeah. All right, let's jump to our $5 and under card. Not so much bargain basement deal here, but we're looking at that all you got. The long forgotten generic defense reaction. Um yeah, this card just wasn't good because no one was throwing anything that was 2 or less. It was always fives.
Yeah,
Fives forever with on hits and blood rots and blah blah blah.
yeah.
But if you've been paying attention, Nate, what just won Worlds?
Bye. Sorry,
Yeah.
I had a mini stroke there. Um,
Did everything smell purple or what?
dude, it did for a second there. Sheesh. Yeah, but I mean, Fi 1 Worlds, ninjas are decent, but now, like, you look at the where this card applies to, you look at ninjas, you look at, um, dashes,
Yeah.
both the dashes, it's good
Pistols.
against. Um, Centauri Sabers, as it turns out, have a base of 2. And if we have Kasai coming into the meta, do you think that girl's gonna run anything but her Centauri Sabers?
Yeah. It's in
Nah,
the art. They're coming.
you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. Um, I don't know anything else that attacks for 2 right now. Sorry, I had, like, a mini stroke, so, like, I could barely get to ninjas, so
Yeah. I mean, it's just like basically pistols, right? Dash IO, maybe not the best use for this card because by the time you're getting to pistols, you're dead already. But she goes pretty quick. But the pistol, the old pistol shoots for 2 as well. If you're playing old dash, right? They love loading that thing up and cracking you at the end, right? You can get your card back with this. You do see here with the numbers, Nate, that there are 30 of them sold over the last week. So I think people are kind of getting prepped, right, for
yep.
this. 35 listings, so a good amount of them on TCG Player. $3.60. I think, if I think back of Uprising, this card was definitely more than that for some time, especially with Fi running around. So we're a little bit still depressed from, its heyday. Not a bad pickup if you don't have them.
Oh, great card.
Yep, for sure. Let's jump to the last one here. Uh, So Vanraes of Determination. So
Yep.
remember when this card came out and it was like, thank God we figured out how to stop Crown of Seeds. Turns
Yep.
out that was a little exaggerated. Oldhim did not care. He's
Nope.
still ascended to 11 legends, even when this card was, teched for him, maybe. Probably not, but that's what we all assumed. This legendary for the rainbow foil is $9.44. It's very interesting to me, Nate. When I looked up the history of this card, you can see it here on this graph. This thing was really, there's a couple blips there, but it was over $15,
Yep.
back in August, and it's been pretty steady, and it just kind of dipped down, right? People are holding a lot of these. You see 73 current listings on TCG Player. I think there's a lot of people just getting antsy, don't want these on their books anymore, want them to move. Um, and then there's been 2 sold in the last week. No one's thinking about this card, man. This card is like gone and forgotten.
No, I think you can kinda see, like, it looks like there was, like, a kinda push here towards the end of the year to, like, just, like, liquidate kinda, like, dead and sitting inventory because there's 2 sold in the last week, and the price has kind of been right there for a long time. The thing about this card is that it is a generic legendary with unique card text.
Mhm.
Now, some of you may know, I think when we first started, I talked about this, is that, like, the I used all my prize money from, like, 2022? Was it 2022? Yes. I used, like, my prize money from, like, Lil, from Nats, from Worlds, and I just, like, spec'd on a bunch of random stuff, and I bought this other card that was just a generic card that had unique card text that no one thought was valuable, and I still have a lot of them,
Yeah.
and I was buying these rainbow foil Crown of Dominions for sub $20 in December of 2022 when no one thought the card was any good. No one was playing it in any decks. Everyone was like memeing on it. Some people were like, "Oh, maybe Dory could play like Crown of Dominion. That would be adorable." Card's now $63.
Mm-hmm.
This one is like, I'm not saying this is gonna be like your like 3x and it's gonna be worth $30 someday, but like it's a generic legendary with unique card text.
Yeah, at the minimum, if you don't have one of these, pick it up now. Like,
Yeah,
if you can get it for like $10, man, get it now,
it's
right? Yeah.
like trade some like if you have Majestics that you don't need and like someone has this in their trade binder, scoop it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the upside of this card in the future, I think far outweighs like the potential downside risk of picking this card up. Because
Yeah.
like I mean, red backshot's $8. So like there ain't no way that card's ever seen play.
This card's definitely better than that card.
Yes. Um, so it's something that like I would keep an eye on, especially if we see any more ward
Yeah.
mechanic support. Like I expect we're gonna see another illusionist in the future, and I think we'll start to see like some replacement effect, like prevention stuff as well. So um,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, grab
definitely,
this if you don't have them. Yep, for sure.
yep. And then big baller.
Yeah.
You all waited. You waited through all of this episode, all
I
31 minutes.
I even waited. I don't even know what card you're talking about.
I literally told you about this earlier. Super spicy baller spec card that I think people are sleeping on. Head in the heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm.
There's one class that some people are kind of sleeping on for heavy hitters. They have their own fable,
Mm. Yep. I know where you're going with this.
grandeur of
Yeah.
Baja. Like it is only in cold foil
Yep.
and it's sitting about a buck 30 right now. Super playable.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And especially, that's a key thing with Grandeur is that it is a cold foil fabled. And for 130, that is, even if you're just like if you have a little bit of a collector bone in you, right, that's worth picking one of those up. Um, yeah, and we typically don't see fableds slotted into decks all that often, but when they make sense, they make sense, and then they go way up, right? We saw what happened with Heart. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think you're onto something there. Grandeur is definitely something to take a look at right now. At 130 for a cold foil, man.
Blue
Those are
pitch, blue pitch
yeah,
fables. Good.
yeah, for sure.
Look at Plague Hive. Like Buffalo Plague Hive, I think is sitting around $100. And there's a rainbow foil version of that. That card seeing basically no play now.
Right.
Um, but is kind of on that like fringe of playability. But like when we see these new Guardians come out, if there's anything that like has to do with like creating multiple seismics in a turn,
Yeah.
it's gonna be spicy.
Yep.
I'm saying people.
Yeah, and the collector side of me definitely tries to get those cold foils too and fableds when I can,
Yep.
because they're just nice, right? They're nice to have. So, but yeah, Nate, I think that's gonna do it for this week. Thank you everyone for listening. If you have any comments, questions, leave them below. Appreciate it. Please sub. We do have a 1,000 sub giveaway happening soon. We're at 820 something right now, so we got
Yep.
a little bit of ways to go. But we'll be giving away a box break, outsiders, tokens, dice, and then obviously the popped collar that we mentioned previously too. So keep an eye on my Twitter for that. Keep an eye on the channel. We'll be announcing that as we get a little bit closer in the next couple weeks and letting that simmer. So, um, yeah, appreciate it, everybody.
Thanks everybody. Peace.
Peace.